Hello, this is Chelsea Anderson, and I will be coming to you discussing cultural diversity. What is cultural diversity? Cultural diversity is defined as a group of diverse individuals with different cultures in society. Cultural diversity is important because our country, workplace, and schools are made up from various cultures, races, and ethnic groups, of which we can learn from each other, but first we must gain an understanding of one another to be able to communicate effectively. Culture diversity in the workplace. There are many diverse committees in the workplace that make up a culture within itself. The culture doesn't only pertain to race and an ethnic group. It also pertains to various work groups. As an example, in the HIM profession and the physician have their own separate cultures with its own language and rules. There are many roles within the HIM profession. And just to list a couple of those, coders, they have auditors, also revenue cycle analysts, and performance improvement analysts. And they all provide the provider with insight um, on the importance of accuracy and completeness of documentation for optimal reimbursement of its services performed. There are many challenges that one could be faced with in um, communicating with the physician. Sometimes it carries a stigma uh, that some physicians can be kind of overpowering or um, arrogant, but a lot of times they're not that way. They are just on a time constraint, and it could come across as they are kind of pushy and really don't have time. But in this case, to help with those to um, ward against the feeling of that you're bothering a physician or that you're wasting his time, when we present ourselves to physicians, we should also have a reference or we should also be prepared and ways to be prepared to be ready to speak with the physician when a meeting has been set is to be sure that you have all of your information and that you have a working knowledge of what you want to present to him. And with that working knowledge, I would say maybe to have, if it's like a code set that he has made lack of documentation to support fully supporting billing procedure that was performed, then you need to be sure when you are preparing for that to um, also have the code with the code description as well as the code that you think he is intending to build that he did, and the code that his documentation at the current time supports. um, so that'll be kind of quick for the physician, and let the physician know that you're not there to waste their time. You're just trying to be sure that you are capturing all charges that he has provided. And what goes along with the preparedness is confidence. And usually, if you are prepared, your confidence is going to come. It's going to work hand in hand with your preparedness because you will be confident and you will know what you will come across as you're very knowledgeable and what in the situation in what you are discussing with the physician. And also the second point is knowing your audience. And once again, um, our audience would be physicians. and maybe directors, if you're crunching numbers or something like that for them. And you would just need to be able to identify, um, once again, the stats, the trends that you're seeing within the coding of the services or for the department as a whole. Um, and with knowing your provider, um, you will, that I just feel like that will all come across if you have met all the other two bullets. I think that you'll be pretty successful with communicating effectively. And right here, communicating effectively are different. Um, we need to be mindful of our voice tone. A lot of times, I've always heard it's not what you say, but how you say it. So you would always, when you are speaking with a physician, you would always want to be um, polite, nice, and not use slang words, that any words that the physician may not know or understand your lingo. You want to use words that will help convey and to let the build, so the physician will be able to build a rapport with you and trust you in your communications. So we always want to be mindful of our voice tones and be polite and smile. The next one that I have in there is being aware of the nonverbal cues. And in here, I have inserted two pictures here. One at the top right, is showing that the people, they look engaged and they are welcoming one another and they are communicating. To me, it looks as if they're communicating. Their verbal cues look as if they are communicating effectively. They're all smiling. They're engaged with one another. On the picture right underneath it, it looks as if they are just over over this meeting. It's like, okay, when is it going to be over? And those cues at the lower bottom half is not exemplary for you to be in a meeting with the physicians and you are feeling tired or bored or over it. You always need to be engaged, make eye contact, smile, nod your head for understanding, and to let the physician know that you, in fact, are participating in the conversation. And the other one that I have is the personal space. Personal space. We need to be careful of um, going in or moving too close without permission. You want to, in this picture right here, that's a little too close for comfort, but you want to be sure when you go. When you're speaking with a physician and maybe you have a document and you need to ask permission, can you share this document or can he look at this document with you to be able um, to gain that permission to move in closer. um, and also the fourth bullet here, I have a willingness to educate. um, is an effective way to communicate and to gain the trust of the physician. You showing your willingness and your knowledge of the subject matter uh, with him. Um, and when you do have a willingness to educate, sometimes you have to be willing to extend yourself a little far. That means maybe um, uh, offering the opportunity to make rounds with the physician, to help the physician in documentation, or even to, and you can be there hand in hand where you all can discuss the case. He can discuss it with you and let you know, and then you can tell him from a coder's perspective or from the HIM professional perspective what we look for and is what we look for to optimize reimbursement for his department or for him or her department. So that's a one that physicians really like to see you willing to be a help of assistance to them. And then the other last one here that always sticks out to me is always the golden rule. And this is what I tend to live by in everything: treat others the way you want them to treat you. And that I do believe some people, although you may treat others well, good, and they may come across as not so welcoming to it, or they may still be rude, but one thing for sure, to know for a takeaway for the person that is trying to live by the golden rule is that um, know that you have made a lasting impression on that person. You may not see it, but that person, that stain is on that person, and they will realize how you made them feel in spite of their situation or how they were feeling. Um, but just know, treat others as you would want yourself to be treated. And in conclusion, I would just add, although there are many different cultures, we all still influence and intermingle with each other in our day-to-day activities. So we must recognize and learn to appreciate each unique culture and the differences we all bring to enlighten another person's life in this journey. That is the conclusion of my culture diversity project. And I want to thank you and have a nice evening. Goodbye.